What is going on out there, peeps? All right, let's try to get caught up on some videos. I have to do some, excuse me, excuse me, some Q&A ones. There's a lot of people asking some good questions, leaving some good comments on a few subjects. Somebody asked me why I don't do Q&A on the Iraqi Dinar, and I said, nor the Vietnam Dong for that matter. I go, I guess I never thought to do it for any reason. I know you guys got a lot of questions, so I'll try to go back and pull some good questions out because a lot of you guys are newbies, and I want to make sure that if you have any questions, that we get them answered. Okay? So nonetheless, we'll get into everything right now. As you guys know, if you are considering buying some precious metals, give our friends over at Money Metals Exchange a consideration. The link is in the description. If you're going to buy, if you're a first-time buyer and you buy more than $100 worth of precious metals, you can use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and get a free ½ ounce of silver. We have Pimpy's Investment Chat. It's the same name as the YouTube channel. Over here, we do talk about investment opportunities, gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currencies. No politics. Bring the politics over to here, which is the hidden things that are in front of your eyes. And you guys are going crazy. Yeah, I know. I saw all of the Benghazi news that's coming out. We'll have to touch bases on that later because that's a long subject. Over here, we do talk about QAnon, NESARA, GESARA, current events, politics, 9/11, false flag events, everything else. Just be respectful. And for those of you who got Twitter and you want to join me over here on Twitter, I do have a Twitter account. The link is in the description. So come on over and join me there. All right, so we'll get into the news here. It looks like finally Kurdistan received the 320 billion dinars sent from the federal government. Now we've heard this before. The last time was the money was sent, but they didn't have the release nor authorization papers. Which some of these times you go, oh, this doesn't make sense. Either they have it or they don't. So, anyways, it said the source from the Ministry of Finance and Economy in the Kurdistan region announced, so this is the Kurdistan people announcing that they did receive the 320 billion Iraqi dinars to the central banks of Kurdistan region. So finally, the people are going to get their money, which again, I don't know how these people do this. So nonetheless, the official letter the federal government signed by the Iraq Minister of Finance, Alawi, indicates that 320 billion dinars were sent to the Kurdistan region government, and it stated that the amount is allocated to pay the salaries of the Kurdistan regional employees just for the month of September. The Iraqi Parliament raises its session amid a quarrel between the Shiite and Kurdish representatives. So, anyways, they had to stop the meeting and postpone it to a further date. There was a little squabble that broke out between two factions of the parliament. Actually, this is not uncommon. We have different factions in there, and not all of them get along. Again, here's the more. The documents the Minister of Finance sends the 320 billion dinars to Kurdistan, and here's the little official paperwork that shows that. Kurdistan regional government will start distributing the salaries from tomorrow, so Thursday. They will start distributing the salaries out to the employees. Finally. Oh, you guys made some of you guys are a little cold-blooded. So it looks like our boy Maliki here is covering from the Rona. So a lot of you are like, I wish this guy would just turn around and die. The truth of the matter is that a quick death would be too good for him. If this guy really has done all the things that he's been listed to have done, then he should go to jail. And he should sit there for a long time, reflecting on it every single day. But nonetheless, Maliki had the Rona. He's been down pretty hard for the past 4 days and is now recovering. The Council of Ministers issued several decisions, including the white paper and farmers expanded. So as you know, there are the white papers or the reform papers have been submitted for the government to review. There's a bunch of different sections in there covering a bunch of different areas. This particular part is in response mostly to the farmers. So it says the Minister of Health and Environment presented at the beginning of the session a detailed report on the latest developments in the Rona in Iraq. The government's efforts to contain the virus, reduce infections and death rates through the country, and efforts the Ministry of Health is concerned with providing the necessary treatments and house supplies to all hospitals, as well as continuing awareness campaigns to take the preventive measures that must be adhered to. So again, people around the world still dealing with the Rona. I guess they never heard of herd immunity. Anyways, it goes on to say that during the session, the reform papers were discussed as the Minister of Finance presented the final report of the emergency cell for financial reform in Iraq, which includes immediate plans to get out of the current financial crisis. We know about this, and explained the content of the white papers and its ability to achieve. So basically what happens is, you guys know this, for decades these people have been screwing over, the corrupt people have been screwing over the citizens of Iraq. There is a lot of areas of corruption and a lot of things that need to be fixed in order for Iraq to really get back on track. The reform papers address a portion of these. Don't forget, our friend there, Al-Qademi, has, once he took over government, has dealt with in a very large fashion the corrupt side of it. It's not all gone, but for the vast majority of them, these people are being replaced and removed, which is good. Okay, but anyways, you come down here, you can see it starts getting into areas of where I think is important, which is agriculture. So it says, first, approval of the white papers for economic and finance reform, taking into consideration the options of the legal department and general secretary and the council and the commitments on the ministers. Extending the exceptions granted to the health or Ministry of Health according to the decision of the Supreme Court. You could go on and on. Basically what this says is making sure that the health industry have all the training, supplies, and medicines they need, as well as devices in the laboratories to deal with the Rona. You come down here, it's talking about something very interesting, which is fourth, approval of the following. And this is good for agriculture. They really need to get their agriculture going. I don't know if you guys remember this. A few months back, I did a video talking about how the agriculture was up and running, but that they needed to send out security guards because you had members of like ISIS and other armed groups that were lighting the fields on fire, just being disruptive with everything, which is not good. Here's talking about all creditor ministers and government agencies to provide the two ministries, trade and agriculture, with a list with a CD containing the debt owed to them by farmers to set off the peasants' dues and those debts. Basically what it looks like, they're either doing some level or all levels of debt forgiveness. They're going to make sure that these people have all the things they need. You can see down here, number 5, it says the Ministry of Agriculture. So they're going to make sure that supplies the farmers with seeds, fertilizer, and anything that they're going to need to make sure that they get the fields going. Any money that's owed the farmers for their farms or for the stuff that they produce on their farms needs to be paid out. It says in there, farmers who marketed strategic crops such as wheat, barley, rice, and corn opened accounts for them in a bank. So they're going to open up accounts for the farmers in the bank. They're going to put money in there for the farmers, money that's due to them, and any money for farmers that need help with supplies, fertilizer, seeds, and the whole 9 yards. So they're trying to get their agriculture up and running the way it's supposed to be. Keep in mind, this is the other big moneymaker for Iraq outside of the, the oil, which 95% of the government's money is generated by the oil. So they need other sources of revenues. We know about the ports, the fees over there that they're collecting, as well as on the borders. So keep going, Iraq. It's looking good. And again, once the economy is up and running, is doing very good. A strong economy, of course, creates a stronger currency. So we're keeping an eye on this. Parliament reveals an upcoming meeting on Article 140 and identifies points of contention in the Constitution. So everything seems to be agreed upon between these two. There are some issues in the areas of Article 140. It goes on to point the small things out, which aren't exactly point. It says the points of contention in the Constitution are in Chapter 1, which is Article 140, as well as about the nature of the political system, whether Republican, presidential, or parliament, pointing out that another important point of disagreement is related to the formation of the government. Is it the largest parliamentary bloc or the winning list that forms the government? Which is actually good points to bring up. One of the points of disagreement is in Chapter 2 of the Rights and Freedoms, noting that there are 23 articles on rights and 10 articles on freedom. I like when it comes down here, which is interesting. He points out that the third chapter is granted to the citizens a decent living and provides basic services such as housing, education, health care, and others, noting that these services are not available to the citizens despite their presence in the Constitution. Yeah, I would say those are pretty big issues. It's great that it's in the Constitution. It looks all good in writing. But, this doesn't, what good is it if you can't provide it to the citizens? All right, you guys. So, again, they're still moving forward. Not a lot going on. I thought this was this looks like a queue, a fancy queue. But nonetheless, look, there's not a whole lot going on. We're keeping an eye on it. We know the reform papers have been received. We know they're reviewing them. I told you what was going to happen. But guy was saying it's going to take 3 to 5 years to implement them. But I think what you're going to see happening is things that need addressed immediately are going to be done immediately. All right. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And that might include the exchange rate. So we'll keep an eye on it and see how it goes. But that's it for now, you guys. That's just all the news for now. But if anything changes, I will get back to you guys. Okay. I'll talk to you later.